went to David Buster's for eighth grade prom or whatever. After eighth grade prom, we drop Henry off. We go back home. Y'all, the whole time I was talking to Henry or whatever. Derek, when I first met Derek, that's my husband's name. When I first met Derek, it was me rushing upstairs to hurry up to get undressed from my prom clothes, and he was like, "Ooh, ooh, ooh, you look good, ooh, ooh, ooh," like. And I'm just trying to get past him because I'm like, who the fuck is this weird boy? Like, he was real weird to me. I'm like, who is this weird boy? And he was just like, can I have a hug? Like, once I finally got dressed, me and KK literally had on the same exact outfit or whatever. And he sat there and told me, he was like, you look good in there. You look good. You look better than her, this, that, and third. And KK is shaped like an 8. They always have been, still is. Like, KK is fine, okay? Body is banging, baby. So it's like him sitting there telling me that I look better than her. It was just like, okay, he trying to shoot his shot for real. And by that time, she had her cousin, which was there, and we're not even just gonna revert that part. No, we're gonna say that part. Okay, she had a cousin which was there, or her childhood friend. I'm not sure. Her childhood friend who was there, just to be there, just to look. I be there, Racia. And at the time, KK had basically let me know that Racia and Derek was talking or whatever, whatnot, or she said something like that, or either Racia said it. Somebody said that they were talking. So I was like, oh, I don't need to do that because Racia had already told KK that I chased after her boyfriends because I think she liked the Henry and all of this stuff, but me and Henry ended up going with each other or whatever, what the case may have been. But so, hey, whatever. So that was that. So I left him alone, but he kept pushing up against me. He kept pressuring me to give him a hug. I gave him a side hug. He was like, that is not a hug. Give me a full hug. So I had to give him a full hug or whatever. Gave him a full hug. He let me go on about my way. Then later on that day, I came back and I was in KK's room, and I'm usually in the room with Brandon. I usually was in Brandon's room because KK will be on MySpace all day, reconstructing her page, doing this, doing that. Like, yeah, it was something. So I'll be in Brandon's room, either watch TV with him or I don't know what we was doing. Whatever we was doing. We weren't doing nothing bad or anything. Possibly watching TV, or I want to say playing a game or something like that. But if I was in there with Brandon, I was in there with AJ. And so happened, Brandon had came in after I left out of his room because he was on the phone with Derek. And was like, yeah, she right here, this, that, and third. Yeah, she still here. Yeah, she be here all the whole time. So I'm like, what the hell, they discussing me? I'm like, so it was weird hearing them discuss me. So I left up out of the room. I was like, maybe I'm not supposed to be in here to hear that. So I went back into KK room. And when I went back into KK room, Brandon came in and he was like, hey, Derek want to know, can he have your number or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, sure, or whatever. So Brandon, he was like, I can give it to him? I'm like, yeah. So Brandon ended up giving him my number. Derek ends up calling me. And when I say we talk from the sun up to the sun down every day, talk about everything, what we like, what we don't like, what we want, what we dislike, and we're young. And so he came over. He used to spend the night when I spent the night up until the parents caught on that me and him was dating or whatever, up until they slipped up and said, hey, Maxine and Derek date or whatever, whatnot. And then when they found that out, if I was at the house, Derek couldn't be at the house. And if Derek was at the house, I couldn't spend the night at the house. So, yeah, that went like that. And so, how it came about, so I'll be talking to Derek because Henry conversation was boring or whatever, whatnot. Henry conversation was boring. He didn't have conversation. He didn't try to build conversation. He didn't try to make conversation. So boring. So when around that time, Derek used to call me. So I'll be like, oh, I gotta call you back, Henry. Oh, I gotta call you back. And I click over and I'll be on the phone with Derek the whole entire night. Like, and then yeah, like, so it'll just be crazy. Like, so I'll be talking to Derek and he'll be thinking I'll be doing expert XYZ or whatever, or really wasn't caring or whatever. And at that time, you had the signatures. We was doing the signatures with the text message. So Henry, signature was Willie B MP, which was my initials or whatever. But he slipped up and forgot to change his signature one of those days when he texted me and it said, will it be MG? Mazanique Green? That was the only other MG, so it wasn't really hard to come up with who is MG. And I knew that he liked her or whatever, whatnot, because word through the school that he did or whatever. So, hey, I liked the other people too, so it was okay. But so when he sent me that and I was like, MG, did that, we ended up getting to it, so I ended up breaking up with him. I was like, I'm done with you, this, that, and third. But somehow he didn't want to break up at the since I don't understand why he didn't want to break up. But we broke up, and then I was like, when we broke up, Derek ended up coming over or whatever, and he ended up calling me, and Derek ended up answering my phone or either being in my background or something to where him and Henry gets into it. When him and Henry gets into it, Henry calls Derek a bitch. Derek do not like the bitch word, especially coming from a dude. You is not finna call him no bitch. He ain't no bitch, and he finna show you who's the bitch is. So that leads up to them fighting. Derek went around to Henry's house because he stayed in this neighborhood. Henry stayed in this neighborhood. It was literally walking distance. Like, it was not that far at all. So they ended up meeting up at Henry's house. Henry told him he could pull up at his house, they could fight at his house. So they ended up fighting at Henry's house or whatever, whatnot. And in the garage because his dad was home, and his dad seen a group of boys outside his house talking about they come to fight his son. Well, he didn't want his son to get jumped, so he brought Derek and Henry into the garage, and they fought 3 rounds. Derek said he beat him up 3 rounds, and I'm guessing he did because his dad took him to boxing classes afterwards to learn how to fight or whatever, whatever was said. But yeah, they shook hands afterwards, and from there on in, I was Derek girl because I was gonna be whoever girlfriend that won, whether it was Henry or whether it was Derek. But Derek won, so I was Derek girl. I wasn't his girl right then and there. I became his girlfriend the day before his birthday, but to give him a gift because I didn't have nothing to give him on his birthday. And he was like, you know, give me a gift. And I was like, yeah, I'll become your girlfriend. You want me as your girlfriend as a gift? And he was like, yeah. And so that's how it came about. July 26th will make 11 years for us this year. But yeah, that's how it came about. He'll turn 26 on the 27th, but we'll make 11 years on the 26th. But yeah. Yeah, so me and Derek started dating, and from that day on, I've just been with Derek or whatever, and he took me through hell and hot water. We went through our trials and tribulations too, or whatever. I still had the little flirt in me, so in class, I can't lie, I still would flirt in class or whatever, knowing that I had a boyfriend. And yeah, it was just me, the player me. I consider myself as a player or playish ways or whatever. I wouldn't try to necessarily play on people, but hey. Because while me and Derek used to talk or whatever, when we first started talking, we weren't as established as girlfriend and boyfriend. But I used to get off the phone with him to get on the phone with Leonard, my good friend who's deceased. I used to get off the phone with Derek to get on the phone with Leonard, who had BJ tied into 3-way, and me and BJ used to be flirting with each other, and then we'll add KK into the line, and KK and Fabo will be flirting with each other, and it just was like a big old triangle. And Leonard, crazy thing is, would be the only one who wasn't getting flirted with, but he stayed on the phone cracking jokes. We all stayed talking. It was just like, we came up with their name. They were the Eat It Up clique. That was Harvey, I'm about to say Harvey, BJ. BJ is Harvey. That was Leonard, Harvey, and Fabo was the Eat It Up clique. They were the Eat It Up boys. We didn't know what the hell that meant. Like, it's crazy how now to this day, like, it makes sense for them to be called that and not us. But they try to flip it now in reverse and be like, y'all the Eat It Up clique. No. Y'all forever the Eat It Up clique because that was y'all little clique or whatever, whatnot. That's what we used to call y'all, or I don't know how it came about, but yeah, that was that. Y'all, how I met my good friend Leonard, it was, I was skipping in the 6th grade, and he was in the hallway. He get into it with this boy named Ellis. They ended up fighting, and me and Trayvon were the only two to catch them fight. Like, we was like, go outside, let's go outside, let's go outside. So they go outside to the T buildings and they fighting there. And then when by the time Halloween come, we all scatter, separate, going back to class and all this stuff. Like, I just had a ball in middle school. It was really, really good, or whatever. It was not. It was really good. And so, yeah, me and Derek ended up dating, and that's where the high school life comes about. So I caught y'all up on from elementary to middle school to partially high school. Now, stay tuned.